Hello. I'd like to welcome all of you back to the Nuclear Dad Blogcast. We're doing things a little different this time around. My platform that I was recording on started acting funny. And I figured since I got a little knowledge in music and audio recording, let me go ahead and put my spin on it, switch things up a little bit, get back to my roots. So in true Nuclear Dad fashion, I want you to sit back, relax, put your feet up, get something good to eat, get something cool to drink, because we're about to take a ride. Let's go, baby. Alright. Today's episode is titled Plugged In. Plugged In. Fatherhood in the Digital Age. Now, we are going to explore the challenges and the opportunities that digital technology presents to us modern fathers. Things like managing screen time to leveraging technology for educational purposes. This episode is going to provide practical advice and insights on integrating technology into parenting effectively and responsibly. I don't know about you, but I like this new feel. I can hear the music. See, before I had to record the audio and then place the music in later, but this kind of gives me a bounce, you know? Gives me a little swag, makes me feel like a radio DJ. And I like this beat. This is an original beat, so I don't gotta pay any copyrights or any royalties to any producers, because like I said, I got a background. Now, allow me to get my bounce on and guide you on through this episode, give you a little insight, a little practical advice, a little knowledge, drop a little jewels. Walk with me. Pick them up. The jewels, that is. Now, the talking points on this episode is going to go from balancing screen time to educational tools to online safety and role modeling digital behavior for your children. We're also going to talk about harnessing technology for bonding and navigating social media. With no further ado, let's get on into it. Now, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, their recommendations for screen time in children, and this was updated in May this year, 2024. Children and adolescents spend a lot of time watching screens, including smartphones, tablets, game consoles, TVs, and computers. On average, children between the ages of 8 and 12 in the U.S. spend 4 to 6 hours a day watching or using screens, and teens spend upward to 9 hours. While screens can entertain, teach, and keep children occupied, too much may lead to problems. Parents may not always know what their children are viewing or how much time they are spending with screens. Children may be exposed to violence and risk-taking behaviors, videos of stunts or challenges that may inspire unsafe behavior, sexual content, negative stereotypes, substance abuse, cyberbullies and predators, and advertising aimed at your children, as well as misleading or inaccurate information. Too much screen time can lead to sleep problems, lower grades in school, reading fewer books or lower literacy rates, less time with family and friends, not enough outdoor or physical activity, weight problems, mood problems, poor self-body image, fear of missing out, and less time learning other ways to relax and have fun. Now, managing a child's screen time is challenging for families, but your child is never too young for a screen time plan. Consider these following points as a guideline. Until 18 months of age, limit screen use to video chatting along with an adult, for example, with a parent who is out of town. Between the ages of 18 and 24 months, screen time should be limited to watching educational programs with a parent or a caregiver. For children 2 to 5 years old, limit non-educational screen time to about an hour per weekday and 3 hours on the weekends. For children ages 6 and older, encourage healthy habits and limit activities that include screens. Turn off all screens during meals and family outings. Don't eat around the TV. Learn about and use parental controls. Avoid using screens as pacifiers, babysitters, or to stop tantrums. Turn off screens and remove them from the bedroom 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen, I know I have, you're out at the supermarket or at Target or Walmart or one of these stores, or even on the road, and you see a car next to you, or you see a parent in the shopping aisle next to you, and their kids doing what? Staring at a screen. You in a stroller, sitting inside the cart, or just walking down the aisle holding mommy or daddy's hand, staring at a screen. If anybody remembers a movie called The Incredibles, what was the name of the bad guy? The screen slaver. Children are becoming slaves to screens. There was a subliminal message in that movie. Now, we can all pretty much agree that screens are here to stay, and it can offer many positives. It's never too early to develop a screen time plan with your family. Let your children share their ideas and concerns. And some additional tips to keep in mind are: familiarize yourself with programming to make sure it is age appropriate. We got to screen all the movies before we let our son see it, because last thing I want is to be watching something and I'm thinking we're going to have a good old fun family time and there's some craziness on the movie or on the show. Talk to your children about what they are seeing. Point out good behavior such as cooperation, friendship, and concern for others. Make connections to meaningful events or places of interest. Be aware of advertising and how it influences choices. Encourage your child to learn other activities such as sports, music, art, and hobbies that do not involve screens. Set a good example with your own safety and healthy screen habits. Teach children about online privacy and safety. Actively decide when your child is ready for a personal device. Encourage using screens in ways that build creativity and connection with family and friends. Consider your child or teen's maturity and habits. The right plan for one family may not be a good fit for another. Positive and healthy screen use is possible with proper guidance and consistency. If you are concerned about your child's screen time, talk to your pediatrician or family physician. If problems persist, ask for a referral to a qualified mental health professional. See, what people don't understand is these screens, these games, social media, it contributes to dopamine release in the brain of not just children, but adults as well. And being cut off from expected screen time is equivalent to being cut off cold turkey from a drug. So think about something called a family media plan, where you set specific times for screen use and using screen time as a reward for completing chores or homework. Now, I myself, because I'm a content creator and I'm always looking for inspiration, I find most of it in my daily life. But as I previously said, the screens are here to stay. So with that being said, we got to manage and balance this screen time, because the world is moving fast and the future is coming at an even faster rate than ever before. And the babies are watching us. They're going to do what we do. We have to lead by example and let them know when to say no to the screens. Now, in place of some of the more, traditional screen time pastimes, right? The entertainment, the nonsense, certain things like educational tools should be implemented to kind of get the kids in the mind state that screens aren't just for fun. So I'm talking about educational tools, right? Apps like Khan Academy, where kids can learn all types of different subjects. Duolingo is something that teaches you a different language. And other educational tools like ABCmouse. They're designed to make learning a fun and interactive experience. And these things can be seamlessly integrated into your normal daily routines, like using math apps during car rides or reading apps before bed, and perhaps Instead of letting the kids watch YouTube while you're shopping for groceries, let them do some math, let them do some reading, let them do some shape recognition exercises. If you're going to start them with screens young, why not start with education? There could be music, there could be different games. I mean, things like Candy Crush, as crazy as it sounds, it helps with pattern recognition. So maybe not just mindless watching other people live their lives. Get your kid into the habit of, perhaps, we're going to do something to build that brain of yours, because the brain is a muscle, and we know without proper exercise and use, any muscle can atrophy. The brain is no exception. Let's talk about online safety. Things like parental controls and safe search settings and different tools can help you to monitor your children when they are on the screen. Because we know social media has no parental controls. But there's a way for you to view your child's phone activity through your phone if you have a family plan and you know how to use the technology for that purpose. Now you have to talk to the babies about the risks, the risk factor, educate them on different risks and explain to them the dangers of sharing personal information online. True story, I know of a young man who got in trouble with his mother because someone had friended him on social media and convinced him. Now he was a teenager, young teenager, but he had a job. He had a summer job, and someone befriended him and convinced him to give them his banking information along with his social security number. So certain things like that, children may not have the discernment to know when this is a good guy or a bad guy, because maybe we don't think that far ahead and think that our children will be susceptible to someone preying on them. But teaching them to recognize inappropriate content and behavior and to recognize phishing or scam attempts could save you loads of trouble down the line. Now, there's organizations like Common Sense Media and the Family Online Safety Institute that can help you with online safety measures for your children. And again, we have to set an example, and we have to emphasize the importance of us fathers demonstrating healthy digital habits, like putting the phone away during family meals and not using devices in bed. Easier said than done, I know. Sometimes when people are going to sleep, when the babies are going to sleep, that's the best time to check an email. I'm guilty of it myself. But I try not to pull my phone out while they are awake. It's after the story time is over. It's after we say prayers and teeth are brushed and they use the bathroom one last time. And maybe we may play a game of chess after I put on their little music box, play a little Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and they close their eyes. I'll wait a few minutes and I might pull out my phone, but I make sure my screen display is down low so they don't see the light emanating from it. That's just me. Everybody's a little different. Now, you can also harness technology for bonding. You can play cooperative games, video games on your phone or on your computer, depending on your child's age, or on your tablet. You can try digital art projects together, or my kids don't play Minecraft, but I know a lot of people who let their children play it, and the children play it by themselves. But from what I understand, you can use it to build virtual worlds. You could build a virtual world together with your children. Back in the day, we had something called The Sims. If anybody's old enough to remember The Sims. Do something together with your kids. Doesn't always have to be them. And talk about using video calls and sharing calendars and family group chats to stay connected and stay organized, depending on your child's age. I mean, they're going to have the screens anyway, so let's use it together. Let's have a family group chat. Let's have a shared calendar so we know on this day we're doing this activity, on that day we're doing that activity. And, try to create a new tradition around the technology, because it's here to stay. Now, us dads, we can create a new family tradition using technology, such as a family virtual movie night, or digital scrapbooking, or a family digital game night. Just some ideas. Just throwing them out there, you know? Let's talk about navigating social media. First things, you gotta understand the platform. Now, different social media platforms have different potential impact on children's mental health and social skills. You got things like Snapchat, where a lot of younger people are. Instagram used to be for the young people, but now it's a little bit more for the older generations. Facebook, they say, is for the grandmoms and the grandpops. They want to see all the pictures of the babies. Then you got things like Reddit, you have YouTube, and a plethora of others that I'm still learning myself. Thankfully, my little guys don't know what social media is. My son has asked me, what's a TikTok? What's an Instagram? Because he hears the older kids that he hangs out with talking about these things. But he knows that he's not getting a TikTok or a social media. The only thing he knows is Google. But because of these different platforms and different things that children are exposed to, it can lead to things like poor body image, as we previously discussed, and anxiety and depression, because maybe they feel like they are not up to par with what they see. And if your kid is that kid, good for them. Good for them if they are not 8 years old trying to put on makeup. They may feel terrible that they don't look as quote unquote good as the girls on social media. But keep them babies for as long as possible. Now, if you have a child that is looking to get onto social media, I want you to think about setting up privacy settings and teaching your children to recognize cyberbullying and understand the permanence of digital footprints. The things that you do now will be around in 20 years, 30 years. Who remembers, for my dads out there, VHS tapes? Now, I know I wasn't the only 14, 15, 16-year-old young man that looked forward to seeing the commercials for Girls Gone Wild. And I always said, one day I'm going to get one of those tapes. I never got one. But by the time I was old enough to even remember or care about stuff like that, there was another form of digital provocativeness, if we will say. And we all know what I'm talking about. It's right on your phone. You don't have to pay $19.99 for a VHS tape or $29.99 for the super uncensored version. It's all free. And if your kids know what to look for, they can find it, which could lead you down a whole other rabbit hole of mental issues and anguish involving your children, boys and girls. Now, some psychologists will say that the earlier you start screen time, the more pervasive the effects that it will have on a child psychologically over the course of their lives. Educators could tell you the same thing. I've talked to teachers who said we can no longer take the phones from children. I remember when I was a kid, if you had a pager, or back in my day it was a two-way, in school, they'd confiscate it. I've confiscated a few myself from other students, but that's a story for another time. Alright guys, in conclusion, trying to keep these episodes short. I don't want to bore people to death. I understand that people's attention spans are slightly longer than that of a goldfish if it's not involving something tacky, or as the kids say, ratchet. If it's not about the latest goings on of a celebrity or the worst things in society, people don't care to listen too much. So I'm trying out this new format with the music, with the groove, with the bounce, and I hope you enjoy it. That's all I got for you. Now, in conclusion, I want you to think about what it is to be plugged in to this digital matrix and having your children plugged into this digital matrix, and how it could possibly affect them if not utilized in the right way or for too long. But the screens are here to stay. Don't fall victim to the screen slaver. Now, quick question. Who remembers the movie Poltergeist? Old school movie from the 80s. About a little girl who got sucked into the television by a spirit. The moral to that story is, if you leave your children unattended in front of these screens for too long, they will be sucked into a world that you don't know anything about, and you'll fight for the rest of your life possibly trying to get your baby back. But if and when you do, they will never be the same. So in closing, I want you to remember a few things. Remember your mission, fellas. We got a job to do. We're here to save the babies and protect the family. Nothing else. I also want you to remember to stay focused, stay grounded, stay diligent, stay vigilant, and most importantly, gentlemen, stay cool. Nuclear Dad out.